Today, I bring you a virtue that will help you live more lightly in life. A virtue that Jesus Christ taught and always wanted us to practice for ourselves and those around us. I will provide specific examples so everyone can use them as motivation to live more gently and peacefully. Above all, in the words of Christ, He teaches us how to forgive our brothers and sisters. Stay tuned until the end of the video so we can learn this together. First, we will talk about forgiveness and its role in our lives. Forgiveness is not merely the act of resolving conflicts. It is an internal process that helps us overcome feelings of anger, hurt, and resentment. Forgiveness allows individuals to free themselves from negative emotions, thereby finding peace and happiness in life. It does not mean accepting wrongdoing, but rather choosing not to let the actions of others continue to affect us. Forgiveness plays a significant role not only in personal relationships but also in society as a whole. When we forgive, we not only ease our own pain but also help to build a more peaceful and united community. Although forgiveness can often be challenging, it can also be the key to liberation. A prominent example of forgiveness in modern life is Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential figures in the United States. Oprah experienced a childhood filled with hardship and trauma, including being a victim of sexual abuse. For many years, she struggled with feelings of anger and hurt. However, instead of allowing this pain to control her life, Oprah chose to forgive those who had wronged her. She has said that forgiveness was a way for her to move beyond the past and not continue living in anger and resentment. Oprah once said, "Forgiveness is the gift you give yourself, not the other person." She transformed her suffering into strength, building an incredible career and becoming a role model for resilience, compassion, and forgiveness. Her journey is a testament to the power of forgiveness, showing that it can not only help heal emotional wounds but also open the door to a brighter future. Another example of forgiveness comes from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a famous Hollywood star. Before achieving fame, The Rock faced numerous challenges in his life, including his parents' divorce and financial struggles during his youth. Despite experiencing fractured relationships, he did not allow these difficulties to define his life. Instead, he learned to forgive those who had hurt him, including family members. Dwayne Johnson has shared that forgiveness helped him become stronger and allowed him to build better relationships and a successful career. Through the stories of Oprah and Dwayne Johnson, we see that resolving the past is not about ignoring wrongdoing, but about allowing ourselves to move forward. Forgiveness is an act of empowerment, helping us rise above challenges and open the door to a better future. And the second is the importance of learning to forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself is often one of the most challenging forms of forgiveness, yet it is also one of the most essential for healing and personal growth. Self-forgiveness is the process of releasing guilt, regret, and self-blame, allowing yourself to move beyond past mistakes and live freely in the present. While forgiving others can be difficult, forgiving ourselves is a profound and necessary step toward emotional well-being. The importance of self-forgiveness lies in its ability to restore inner peace and self-worth. When we hold onto guilt or shame, we can become trapped in a cycle of negative self-judgment, which can prevent us from fully experiencing happiness or achieving our potential. It is only through self-forgiveness that we can break free from these chains and begin to embrace who we are, flaws and all. In the public eye, Lady Gaga is a powerful example of someone who has publicly discussed her journey towards self-forgiveness. Throughout her career, Lady Gaga has been open about her struggles with mental health, self-esteem, and the emotional scars left by past trauma, including bullying and body image issues. For years, she carried the weight of self-criticism and fear of not being enough. However, through therapy and personal growth, she learned to forgive herself for not meeting the unrealistic standards she had set for herself. She has repeatedly emphasized the importance of self-love, saying, "It's not about being perfect. It's about loving yourself and being kind to yourself in the face of imperfection." Lady Gaga's story is an inspiration to many who struggle with self-worth. By sharing her personal challenges and demonstrating self-forgiveness, she has become a role model for those who are learning to let go of the past and embrace self-compassion. Her transformation shows how self-forgiveness can be a catalyst for personal empowerment and a way to find peace in one's own skin. Another notable example is Robert Downey Jr., the actor best known for his role as Iron Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Downey's life was marked by significant struggles with addiction, legal issues, and personal mistakes. For many years, He battled with feelings of guilt and self-blame for the negative impact his actions had on those around him. However, after hitting rock bottom, Robert Downey Jr. made the conscious decision to forgive himself and take responsibility for his actions. He sought rehabilitation, worked hard to overcome his addiction, and rebuilt both his career and personal life. In interviews, Downey has discussed how forgiving himself was the first step toward change. He has said, "You have to make peace with yourself. You can't move forward if you're stuck in the past." His willingness to forgive himself allowed him to transform his life, both personally and professionally. Robert Downey Jr.'s journey illustrates the incredible power of self-forgiveness in overcoming past mistakes and creating a future filled with possibilities. Self-forgiveness is not about ignoring or excusing past wrongs, but rather accepting that everyone is imperfect and deserving of growth. It involves recognizing that we are human, we make mistakes, and we can learn from them. It's about giving ourselves the grace to move forward without being weighed down by guilt or regret. The stories of Lady Gaga and Robert Downey Jr. highlight that self-forgiveness is a vital step in the process of healing and personal transformation. By learning to forgive ourselves, we open the door to a healthier and more fulfilling life, free from the chains of past mistakes. Just as they have done, we too can embrace our imperfections, grow from them, and live with greater joy and confidence. Should we forgive those around us when they make mistakes? Forgiving others is often one of the most challenging aspects of forgiveness, especially when we have been deeply hurt or wronged. However, in most cases, forgiveness is not only beneficial for the person who caused the harm, but also for ourselves. Forgiving others allows us to release negative emotions like anger, resentment, and bitterness, freeing us to move forward with our lives. While there are instances when forgiveness may be difficult or even seemingly impossible, in most cases, forgiving those around us is essential for maintaining emotional health and fostering positive relationships. Forgiveness does not mean excusing or condoning harmful behavior. Rather, it is an act of letting go of the need for revenge or retribution and choosing to heal instead of harboring pain. By forgiving, we allow ourselves to regain control over our emotions and peace of mind, rather than allowing the actions of others to continue influencing our lives in a negative way. A powerful example of forgiveness in the public eye comes from Taylor Swift, a singer and songwriter who has faced numerous public feuds and betrayals throughout her career. One of the most notable instances was her fallout with Kanye West after he interrupted her acceptance speech at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. At the time, Kanye's actions were widely seen as disrespectful, and many fans, including Taylor, were hurt by the public humiliation. However, over time, Taylor chose to forgive Kanye, even publicly acknowledging in interviews that she had come to terms with the situation and moved on. She demonstrated the power of forgiveness in her personal life, even though the incident remained a topic of public discussion. Taylor's decision to forgive Kanye West allowed her to not only heal emotionally but also to focus on her music and career. In her 2016 album Reputation, she addressed the incident through her music, showing that forgiveness can be part of a creative and healing process. Taylor's ability to forgive someone who publicly hurt her is a testament to the strength of forgiveness as a means of reclaiming personal power and finding peace. Another example of forgiveness comes from Ellen DeGeneres, the famous talk show host who was publicly criticized after a controversial interaction with former President George W. Bush during a 2019 Dallas Cowboys football game. Many of Ellen's fans were upset that she was seen sitting with Bush, who had been a divisive figure in American politics. Ellen, however, responded to the backlash by explaining that she had forgiven Bush for his political differences and was choosing to focus on their personal friendship rather than their contrasting ideologies. She emphasized that forgiveness and understanding were key to maintaining relationships, even when there were disagreements on a larger scale. Ellen's response to the controversy illustrated a broader message about forgiveness, that it is essential not only in personal relationships, but also in navigating social and political divides. She stated, "We're all different, and I think we should be kind to each other. That's what I want for my life and the world." By forgiving Bush, Ellen demonstrated that forgiveness can serve as a bridge to unity, even when we do not always agree with the actions or beliefs of others. Forgiving others is not always easy, especially when the offense feels deeply personal or the betrayal is significant. However, in most cases, choosing forgiveness leads to emotional freedom. It is about taking the high road, choosing to release the past, and not letting the negative actions of others determine your emotional state. Through forgiveness, we allow ourselves to experience healing, growth, and the ability to move forward without the burden of anger or resentment. The stories of Taylor Swift and Ellen DeGeneres show us that forgiveness can bring about personal growth and peace, even in the most difficult situations. While it's true that forgiveness is not always easy or immediate, it is often the key to maintaining healthy, positive relationships and finding inner tranquility. In most cases, forgiving those who have wronged us is an act of courage and strength that ultimately benefits us in the long run. Finally, how can we forgive more easily? Learning from the example of Jesus. Forgiveness is a powerful act, but it is often one of the hardest things for us to do. So, how can we make the process of forgiving easier for ourselves? One key is to remember that forgiveness is not for the other person, but for ourselves. It is a way to release the anger, bitterness, and pain that bind us and prevent us from experiencing peace and happiness. While forgiving others may not come naturally, especially when we have been deeply hurt, there are steps we can take to make the process more manageable. The first step in learning to forgive is to practice empathy. Understanding that everyone makes mistakes and that people often act out of their own pain or ignorance can help us approach forgiveness with compassion. When we put ourselves in the other person's shoes, it becomes easier to see their actions in a broader context and choose to let go of the resentment. Another important step is to focus on the benefits of forgiveness. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the burden of carrying negative emotions. Forgiveness allows us to move forward with our lives without being tied to the past. By choosing forgiveness, we create space for healing, growth, and new beginnings. However, even with these steps in mind, one of the greatest sources of inspiration for forgiveness is the example of Jesus Christ. According to the teachings of the Bible, Jesus embodies the ultimate example of forgiveness. Despite enduring extreme suffering, betrayal, and rejection, he chose to forgive those who wronged him. In the Gospel of Luke, as Jesus hung on the cross, he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Luke 23 verse 34. This moment demonstrates the power of unconditional forgiveness, even in the face of great personal pain. Jesus' willingness to forgive those who crucified him is an extraordinary lesson in mercy and grace. He did not demand justice or retribution for the wrongs done to him. Instead, he chose to release his tormentors from the consequences of their actions. His forgiveness was not just a single act but a way of life, one that he taught his followers to embody. In the Lord's Prayer, Jesus also teaches us the importance of forgiveness. He instructs us to pray, "Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us." Matthew 6 verse 12. This is a powerful reminder that our own forgiveness is directly tied to our ability to forgive others. Jesus emphasized that forgiving others is not optional but essential for spiritual health. In fact, he went further to say that if we do not forgive others, God will not forgive us. Matthew 6 verses 14 to 15. This teaching highlights the deep connection between forgiving others and experiencing divine forgiveness. One contemporary example of someone who has lived out the spirit of Jesus' forgiveness is Morgan Freeman. The renowned actor, Freeman has shared in interviews how he has had to forgive people who wronged him in both his personal and professional life. One particularly notable instance involved his decision to forgive a man who had tried to rob him at gunpoint. Freeman, instead of holding on to anger or resentment, chose to forgive the man, stating that holding on to hate would only harm him in the long run. He said, "Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself." Freeman's story illustrates how forgiveness can bring peace and healing, even in the most challenging situations, much like how Jesus forgave those who wronged him. Another example comes from Desmond Tutu, the South African Archbishop and Nobel Peace Prize laureate, who worked tirelessly to promote forgiveness and reconciliation during and after the apartheid era. Tutu's efforts to help both victims and perpetrators of racial violence forgive each other through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission were rooted in his deep Christian faith and his belief in the teachings of Jesus. Tutu often spoke about how forgiveness is not forgetting but choosing to move forward without being weighed down by the past. His actions reflected the idea that forgiveness is not just a personal choice but a societal necessity for healing and peace. The teachings of Jesus Christ provide us with profound guidance on how to forgive. Jesus not only exemplified forgiveness through his own actions but also encouraged his followers to practice forgiveness in their daily lives. His teachings urge us to forgive not just once, but continuously, 70 times 7, Matthew 18 verse 22, meaning that forgiveness should be limitless. This is a radical approach, one that requires humility and strength. To truly embody the spirit of forgiveness, we must first embrace the idea that forgiveness is an act of love and mercy. Just as Jesus forgave those who betrayed, hurt, and crucified him, we are called to forgive those who wrong us. Through forgiveness, we not only release others from the debt they owe us, but also free ourselves from the chains of bitterness, anger, and resentment. As we forgive, we reflect the love and grace that Jesus shows to all of us. In conclusion, by following Jesus' example of forgiveness, we can learn to let go of our grudges and embrace healing. Forgiveness allows us to live freely and fully, not bound by the past. Just as Jesus forgave those who wronged him, we are called to do the same. For in forgiveness we find both peace and freedom. Let us strive to live by his example, forgiving others as he has forgiven us, and in doing so, reflect his love and mercy in the world around us.